Good morning, everyone. Tim from Timber Visions here. So we're over 50 hours on the Kioti, so it's time to do the initial oil change and all that good stuff. So to help make that a little easier, we're going to remove the front end loader. So there's these pins up here. Drop it down. There's another hole here. Put the pin in. And we'll do this on each side. This is one of the main reasons I went with this particular model, was the ability to pop this off quickly and easily if I needed to. So next we'll start up the tractor and lower down the loader, and we'll have to pop these guys here. Here, I'll get a shot of that. All right, it takes a little bit, but pull it out. I don't know, a pin might be easier. Okay, I finally got them. In order to get pressure off of these so you can actually lift them up, you have to put downward pressure on the end of the loader. But now I've got those loosened, and I can roll it back the other way. So basically you're lifting it up, and we've come off of these pins here, and it's resting on those up front. Now we just have to shut down the tractor and we'll unhook our hoses. So before we unhook the hoses, we want to work this thing in every direction, and you hear all that coming off. Then I have a third function also, so you want to work that back and forth. Now we can unhook these. That's pretty freaking tight. Probably should have unhooked those before. Alright, I started the tractor back up and gave myself a little bit more slack here so I can actually pull these guys out. Still pretty tight getting in here, especially for a guy with big fat fingers like me. Okay, those are the third function guys. And we have each of these here. 4 more down here. And I will tell you, for somebody with bigger hands, pretty tight, especially with this solenoid for the third function in there. But they are color coordinated, I think. Or not. That'll be interesting. But always cap your hydraulics when they're not in use, so you don't get a bunch of gunk in there. Alright, this is the first time that I've pulled this thing off. Well, guess not. My advice would be to do the third function first if you have that. Then you'll be able to push it back far enough. But once again, release all the pressure. And then actually it's a little easier to get at these things. They're here. There. We can cap these, and we'll be front end loader free for the first time since I own this. Let's back away. Go park where we're going to service at. Now, as far as opening the hood, little silver deal here. You pull out on that way, push down in the hood a little bit. Then your hood will lift right up. Now, without the front end loader on here, we got lots of room to access the things that we need to in order to change oil. Now, I'm also going to put gear oil in the front axle. From the factory, it comes with hydraulic fluid, and in the manual it says you can use that or 90 weight, but I bought some 90 weight to put in there just to give myself a little extra protection. Now, I did run this tractor, did a few little odd jobs out front. I had some stepping stones I needed to get popped out of the ground. So I did get it up to operating temp before we started this process. Okay, we're into the tractor now. You're looking towards the front end of the tractor. And here's the oil pan. And it takes a 17 millimeter for this oil plug. Holy crap. Just gotta get that initial. You know how it is when you change oil. Maybe. Get that out of the way until I'm ready to pull the plug. Okay. I bought one of these nifty oil pans that capture the oil for you. There we go. We'll let that drain, and we'll work on the oil filter. And then to help it drain a little faster, it's always good to undo the oil fill so air can get in there. Set that right there for now. That's the oil fill right at the top of the valve cover there. And just dribbling now. So we'll move on to the filter. So the oil filter is right here on the left side as you're facing forward. And hopefully not too much. It's going to run out, but I'm just going to adjust this so it's kind of underneath it. And this one isn't too bad. Loosen it with the filter wrench a little bit. Pull it out, and we'll let it drain into the oil pan. Make sure that this face doesn't have the O-ring on it, because that would be bad when you go to put on the next one. It would not seal because you'd have two O-rings on top of each other. Just never a good thing. Okay, here is, let it focus. This is what my dealer said is the proper one for the Kioti CS 2520. So, pop that bad boy out. Get the brown panties off of it. And this is the engine oil that they recommended. I said, I want the one that will not void my warranty. So, this is the one they gave me. I'm going to get a little bit out of my finger, rub it onto that O-ring. And some guys will actually put oil in there to, you know, just soak up into it a little bit. I'll just put a little bit in there. Let it soak into the fibers, or the media, whatever you want to call it. We'll let that soak up. Next we're going to take a paper towel and wipe off this face here a little bit, so we're sure it's good and clean, and then wipe off any excess oil down there. And we'll take our new oil filter and screw it on there. And hand tight is all you need. Don't need to get crazy with it. Certainly don't want to put this spiny thing on it. Alright. So, it's got to put in an oil plug and fill her back up. So, according to the owner's manual, 1 gallon is what is needed for this. So, that's what they gave us, is 1 gallon of 15W40. I think my funnel is long enough. If you hold your funnel up just a little bit, it'll flow a little easier, I noticed. to flow out of the funnel a little easier. So after this 50-hour, if memory serves, in every 100 hours, well, I'll check the owner's manual just to make sure. I'm pretty sure it's every 100 hours you have to do this. But the initial is at 50. Basically your break-in period. So we will double check our engine oil every 100 hours. 100 hours or 1 year, whichever comes first. Which I've had this for a year now. This, I think today, I've had it for 1 year, and I put just over 50 hours on it. Now, I didn't have a lot of the implements that I do now, so I'll probably be putting some more hours on it. So, got our engine oil in. We'll check, make sure we're good. If there are any Kioti engineers around, this wire that goes right over top your oil fill cap, yeah, it'd be handy if that was somewhere else. Just saying. Hope I don't have to put any more oil in. Okay, the oil dipstick is on the just above the filter there. Pull that little bad boy out. Give it a wipe. And we're above, but I haven't run it yet. Let's run it once. We'll check it again. While you're running it, it's a good idea to kind of look for leaks at the same time. It's a little bit of oil down here from when I pulled the filter. Okay, it should have circulated through good. We'll check the oil again after it rests. Okay. While that's resting, let's go over what we have to do here. Engine oil filter, which is complete. Transmission oil filter and hydrostatic oil filter, both replaced. Not changing the oil. Transmission fluid change at 400 hours. So we'll be good there. And then we're supposed to check the front axle level, but at 10 hours, which was good. But at 50 hours here, I'm going to just go ahead and change that. Every 10 hours, you're supposed to check that. That's it. If you bought a tractor and this did not come with it, you should probably look at a different dealer, because it should come. You buy a tractor, it's an investment. They should give you an owner's manual with it. I've heard of guys that don't get one. I'm like, what the heck? But anyway, I think we should have had enough time there for the engine oil to settle. We will give her a check again here. Alright, pull, give it a wipe. And just a little bit above yet, but Nice and clean. Should be good. So next, the dreaded hydrostatic and transmission filters. Here we go. Okay, we have two filters underneath here. One is right here. See, that's where it screws into, and then one is right here. I'm going to start with the little guy, and I have the other one prepped and ready to go. And should be a good time. All right. That's righty tighty. Let's lefty loosey this. Oh, that's righty tighty. You know how it is when you're underneath something. Nothing seems correct. Damn it. There we go. This is the correct way. From what I've heard, these filter wrenches are like essential for doing this. I think the big one's the one that's a real pain in the butt. This one's actually turning for me. But I've heard horror stories about these things on the Facebook groups that I belong to. If you own a tractor, I highly recommend that you get in a Facebook group that talks about the tractor that you own. A lot of knowledge out there. All right. It's not really in a handy spot here. It seems to spin quite freely, the wrench. But I've heard we lose some hydraulic fluid when you do this. Must be the other one. And I have put hydraulic fluid onto the O-ring of this one already, in case you're wondering. Make sure. Oh, good thing it wasn't going on there. We lost our O-ring, or it's stuck up here. There. Good lesson for me, for all of you guys. I was just thinking that. Didn't check that O-ring. Come on, baby. You can do it. I think we're going on now. Kind of a tricky one because you can't see anything. I'm going to get some rags, wipe that off, I'll be right back. Pretty much cover the back of this thing with hydraulic fluid, so I can use a paper towel for a while here until I don't have grip anymore. It's better with the paper towel. Everything wiped off that I can. Okay, that one's done. Next, the big one. All right, here we go. And as big as it'll go. One more. Okay. This isn't going to be as bad as some people have talked about. I think they put these filters on and then paint, and you can kind of have a paint film that holds the filter on there. But having a good set of these is also very helpful. All right, I got my new filter right here. Try to not lose much. Luckily the O-ring stayed on the filter. But man, that puppy really dumps the hydraulic fluid while you're going. Holy crap. I've heard guys put a vacuum on the fill hole in the back to kind of hold the oil back, but it's a good thing I did it as quickly as I could, and good thing I got another gallon. So I'm gonna wipe this off and get her tightened up by hand. Okay, she's tight, good and tight. I think we should be good to go. Just gotta check our, well, we'll definitely be adding some hydraulic fluid. I've heard of some guys, they'll change it underneath a clean container and then they'll pour it back in, but I'll just top it back off with fresh, kind of do a partial change. This is my fancy oil pan. There are a few metal flakes, which is pretty common. You tighten that up, put your little cap on over here. And you can just lift it up and carry it to your disposal. Way up in there is where the hydraulic fill port is, and not an easy thing to get at. As you can see, the tip of the funnel just reaches it. You have to hold it and with one hand and pour with the other. But that's the way she goes. And I didn't have anything on my dipstick, so I have to put some in there for sure. I'll hold that there and then pour here. Another thing the engineers could work on. I've seen guys who make contraptions and stuff. None of these things are like news to me because of the Facebook group. A lot of guys will talk about their trials and tribulations. That's why I went and bought this extra long funnel. I tried to look for one that you can bend this way and that way, but couldn't find one at the farm store. So alright, we'll see if that got us to the dipstick yet or not. That's the funny thing about hydraulic fluid, is it's clear. I saw some come off, so that's a good sign. Yeah, we're definitely on the dipstick now, but I haven't run it either. So we'll run it and drive it around a little bit. We'll run this side. Way back in here. But there's not a wire in the way, so that's good. But we'll start her up and run her around a little bit, and then we'll check the oil level again. So stick with us. We'll be right back. Alright, ran her around a little bit. That's one problem with having the wraps down. Give her a little wipe here. And I like to kind of just see where it hits my finger. Maybe just a little bit low. Might add a little bit, and we'll go from there. I had a couple more globs, and then we'll get going on the front differential. Alright, next we have the front differential. So there's a plug here and one over on the other side as well. The fill is right up here. I'll give you a shot of it here in a bit. And there's a drain over here. And then this is your fill level indicator. So when we fill it back up, we fill it till it gets to that point. So I'll show you the fill port. Right there is the fill port. This is the front left as you're sitting on a tractor. Front left side. So we'll drain this stuff out. Breathe. And as you can see, it's pretty thin. It's hydraulic fluid. And my other oil pan was too tall to fit underneath there. So I got to use my old oil pan. I'll just transfer that into the other one when I'm done. So we'll let that drain out, then we'll do the other side. Stick with us. Okay, I'd already loosened this one up. This is the breather. Let that drain. Oh, we'll get this guy. Let that all drain out. Then we can fill it back up. Okay, we've quit draining pretty much. So put our plugs back in. Actually, I think we leave this one out until it starts coming out of there. Then we put that back in. I mean, it's still dripping out of there anyway, but now we'll fill her back up with 90 weight gear oil. So you just fill it through this top where the gear dipstick is, and I've put in the proper amount. We will just double check with the dipstick and we should be good to go. Alright, so that concludes all the fluid changing for the 50 hour. Keep in mind that that front differential did not need to be changed at 50 hours per the manual, but I wanted to just go ahead and switch that over to the 90 weight instead of the hydraulic like it comes from the factory. And then in the manual it says either way. You can do the 90 weight or the same hydraulic fluid that you use for the rest of the tractor. So there's only one thing left to do, and that's to get the front end loader put back on this. So I'm going to show you how to do that, or we'll learn how to do that together. First thing we got to do is get the tractor up in front of the loader. This is why you want to put it on a flat surface when you do this. So it'll line back up when you go to put it back on. Just kind of keying in on one side here. Go ahead and put the parking brake on so I don't move. And I'll go ahead and shut it down. Then I'll bring you guys around here while we hook up the hydraulics. So I'm only going to worry about the loader hydraulics to start with. So over here there's a piece of tape, and I should probably put it on the ends also, the colored tapes. I got a buddy that lives down the alley here that's an electrician. I bet he has all these colors, but it goes white, green, yellow, red. So I'm pretty sure that's the same order. So this first one's white. And the second one, and we're working from the cab towards the front. Not the cab, but the seat. I just got to make sure my yellow one's on top. Yep, and yellow is actually marked on this one. Yellow. Come on, man. Yep, red. Alright, so they're all locked in there. The third function we'll wait until after we got the loader attached back on. And when I take it off next time, I'll take the third function off before I even attempt to take the loader off. So we got all three of those, or four of those hooked up. Now we'll start up the tractor, and you can watch it as it engages back onto there. Should anyway. So all I'm doing is booming up or pulling back on the joystick. Alright, I got those in the wrong order. Yep, those are definitely in the wrong order as far as my lines hooked up. So, those were wrong. Go ahead and get all the pressure off of it. And we'll pull these back off. The controls were set up incorrect, or I did it wrong. All right, so I'm going to look at the manual and make sure I'm doing this correctly. So I'll be right back. Okay, in the loader owner's manual, from this side to this side should be red, yellow, green, white. So this one's red. And yellow. Green is this one. And then white. There you go. All right. Red, yellow, green, white. Now we should be able to hook her up. Okay, so there was a couple things where I messed up, or didn't realize that this actually lifts up that thing I thought that we had to get up underneath. So once I pulled it all the way up in there, I just pulled these back down. I can't do it now because there's pressure on it, but this yellow marker on this hose is throwing me off. That's actually the red one. So it goes red, yellow, green, white. Red, yellow, green, white. That's the order it goes. Just like on here, red, yellow, green, white. Same order. Don't get yourself confused because it's wrapped up in those nice hose wraps, which, you know, protects it, but with it having that yellow mark on the red one kind of threw me off. So we are hooked up now. I just got to lift it up and bring those stands back in. I also think that probably having the bucket on would be better than the grapple, just because then you have a little further, it's further out. But now that's my lift. There's my curl and dump. I can go ahead and flip these guys back up. Now we're golden. Only thing left to do now is to hook up my third function hoses, and luckily those have a male and a female, so I can't mess those up. But you can guarantee I'll be marking these, all of these, before I do this the next time. That guy, plug. Alright. Now, everything should be back in working order, which is good because I have a tilling job this afternoon. Well, I hope you guys found this video informative, at least learn from some of my mistakes. I don't know if I explained this very well as far as hooking this back up. All I had to do was push this down. That's the point I was at. You know, as soon as you're up against it, all you have to do is push this down. So I was overthinking it, and then my control hoses were hooked up incorrectly, so that made it difficult also, because my curl and dump were backwards. So I was trying to put downward pressure, and I was actually curling instead, and this wasn't acting right. So anyway, I want to thank everybody for stopping in and watching. It's starting to rain a little bit again, so hopefully you learned something. Hopefully it was helpful. I know there's not a lot of videos out on this particular model, so hopefully it'll help somebody who's a little bit leery about doing maintenance themselves. This is my very first time doing maintenance on it. That's why it wasn't real smooth. But that's how I am. I'm raw. I'm gonna show you when I'm learning. You can learn right along with me. So I hope it was helpful though. But until next time, be safe, brothers and sisters.